Perhaps no one university in Russia doesn't have a large number of diverse museums as at Kazan Federal University. This is a priceless asset of the university with unique collection to help visitors and students to back in time to acquire new knowledge. All museums of the university have international status. Information about the museum is contained in the international catalog and directions. This Institute of International Relations, History and Oriental Studies, which traces its history to 1804 with the founding of the Imperial University of Kazan, has two museums. Now we will tell you about one of them. Ethnographic Museum of Kazan Federal University is one of the oldest museums in the humanities in Russia. Basics of the museum was laid in 1815, and since then the museum's collection is constantly replenished. Here, on an area of about 200 square meters, there are thousands of exhibits describing the culture and life of the world population. Walking in the hall of Ethnography of Kazan-Volga peoples can feel yourself in the 19th century. There are exhibits of the main ethnic group living in the Volga region: Finno-Ugric, Turks and Slavs. In Finno-Ugric ethnic group are included Udmurt, Mari and Moldovians. This pair of Mari is dressed in national costumes of Mordovia, which are very similar to traditional Russian costumes, embroidery and color. There are even sandals. However, in the Russian Volga, Russians wear suits of different colors. For example, this woman of the Slavic group dressed in a blue parrot and holiday dress, sundress, scarf and kokoshnik. Another remarkable couple in national costumes is Chuvash. For them, the suit was a kind of passport. Every decoration and embroidery carried its meaning. For example, diamonds on the dress of women meant that women already have children. But national branchial decoration has it is made from seashells. Incidentally, such ornament was worn by Tatars. Pleases the eye with an extensive collection of jewelers of Kazan Tatars. All decorations are made of precious and semi-precious materials: silver, copper, brass, coral, amethyst and cornelian. Here are not only earrings but necklaces, nekoshniki, koronits and haseti. Study of Volga collections gathered in an ethnographic museum allows to revive folk culture, the traditions, customs, rituals, folk ethnic symbolism.
The Ethnographic Museum of Kazan University is the first humanitarian museum in Volga-Ural region. It was created in 1815 as the Room of Rarities. All exhibits of this museum are original. Most of the exhibits was brought to museum by scientists of Kazan University from expedition across Russia and the world. Also, exhibits were specially bought abroad for illustration of training courses of ethnography. Of course, some of the exhibits were presented. The most part of subjects belong in the 19th century. All exhibits which are presented in Ethnographic Museum of Kazan University are unique. The museum displays various people of Russia. These multi-ethnic people of Volga region, Siberia and Far East. Here a culture of the world also is presented: Africa, South and North America, Australia, East and Asia countries. Exhibits are an important resource for information for students. On the basis of collection of the Ethnographic Museum, students write some scientific articles and works. We will be glad to see you in our museum.
In the next room of the museum, carefully preserved collection of ethnography of the people of the world. Kazan University scientists brought exhibits from all continents of the scientific expeditions and travel, so that geography is vast. Studying and listening to the interesting story of a guide, visitors will learn about the lives of the people of North America. Here are representatives of all its tribes. Judging by ritual costumes, this is a shaman. Tomahawk, which he holds in his hand, says of his high position in society, because such battle axes could have only leaders. Watching the representative of Botakode tribe from South America, it may be noted that the ornaments were an important part of the appearance of the man. To look warlike, they inserted themselves into the ears and jaw wooden wheels. The cult of spirits and shamanism were traditional beliefs in many nations. Religious wooden masks symbolizing the gods of the people of South America, particularly in the Tlingit tribe, represented in the museum in large quantities. At least in the museum there are wooden idols which defined and worshipped at most of the tribes in North America and South. All these items were purchased by Kazan University Museum of Imlau for Germany in the 19th century. The collection of the people of Africa, South and North America, a special place is taken by a combat and hunting weapon, multiple bows, arrows, spears, harpoons, fishing supplies. Collection sent by Russian astronomer and one of the first discoverers of the southern polar continent, Antarctica, by rector of Kazan University from 1846 until his death in 1855, Ivan Mikhailovich Simonov. Shamanism was distributed in Russia. This is evidenced by the following booth exhibits brought to the university by Professor Katanov from Tuva. Tuvan monks smoked various mixtures to enter into a trance, but also played on the national musical instrument. Here we can see carved wooden chairs of fine workmanship, figuring made of wood and agglometallatin, dispatching riders in national dress, shamans, skillfully made stuff. A special place in the museum is taken by Altai shaman costume presented to the university's Professor Osip Kovalevsky. From the Baikal, Mongolian Tibet professor brought in his native university subjects of Buddhism. Here is Buddhist wheel of life telling of endless reincarnation as the need to live according to religious law, and assembled Buddhist altar, part of which Kovalevsky also brought from Mongolia, Tibet and China. Professor gave the museum another significant collection imported from China, where he lived for 13 years. Here we see the male and female costume of pure silk and so blue, the Chinese national dish. There are many examples of shoes ranging from heavy boots, finishing a variety of women's slippers, including the very small. Great interest of visitors was attracted to the section Central Asia, a collection assembled by a student of Kaltsov University in the early 20th century. The collection includes the Uzbek national costume, embroidered skullcaps, mainly the old Quran and Muslim holy books. There is a large collection of cookery utensils, smoking accessories, musical instruments, writing items. Each exhibit is a pearl beyond which a long history and their value is increasing every day. All exhibits in our museum are originals. All exhibits are presented in our museums were brought from Umlefo Museum in Hamburg. These exhibits were ordered especially for museum to reflect the specifics, culture and life of people. All mannequins are made with the people of that time exactly anthropological complaints with all parameters, therefore all the physiological proportions were observed. Ethnographic museum is possible not only to enjoy the cultural values but also to use this knowledge in science. It's a laboratory where researchers can study and compare objects of universal culture, concentrated in one place and systematized by geographical area and in order of evolution. The museum was originally created with the function that students studied the collection and wrote a variety of scientific research work, informative purpose. Better wants to show than many times to tell. Of course, students learn the various collections, write research papers, tom papers. This is very important and necessary not only for our museum but in general for science. Familiarity with the history and culture of not only own people but also the art and culture of other people's expense worldwide man inspires respect for the life and work of ancestors, respect for the culture and history to other people of the world. Visiting the Ethnographic Museum of Kazan Federal University, you can not only be enriched by new knowledge, but also feel the atmosphere of another time, touching subjects so carefully collected and carefully protected for 200 years.